Good evening. First, we need to have a talk about the forecast. All calm out there right now, but that is going to change.
By this time tomorrow night, this is what we could be dealing with, a good chance for strong storms.
David Paul tracking the timeline and joining us with what you need to know. David?
Well, you guys, it's another beautiful evening out here in Houston. It's breezy, it's mild. That south breeze that we felt all day is still bringing moisture in off the Gulf of Mexico. That will be fuel for these thunderstorms that are going to move in tomorrow. But it's going to be tomorrow night. That's when the worst of the weather moves in. The timing is this. The storm threat starts around 10 p.m. Wednesday night and lasts through to about 7 a.m. Thursday morning. And there will be a slight chance for a severe storm during that window of opportunity. So coming up, I'll outline the severe threats. I'll walk you hour by hour through that timeline. And when this is all over, you're going to love what this does for the weekend forecast with the triathlon up in the Woodlands and the MS 150. I've got the forecast for both of those events coming up as well in just a few minutes.
Can't wait to hear more. And as always, the forecast can change, so be sure to stay up to date with our KHOU 11 News app. It is free to download. Now this, people cannot stop talking about a new dress code at Houston ISD's Madison High School.
Yeah, a dress code not for students, but for parents. Check this out. On the list, it says no shower caps, no hair rollers, no pajamas of any kind, and the list goes on of what people will get kicked off campus for wearing.
It is the story that's gotten the most reaction by far today on our Facebook page. So let's turn now to Lauren Tallarico. She is live at Madison High with what started all this and how people are reacting. Lauren?
Well, it apparently all started last week when the Madison principal wouldn't enroll a student for how her mother was dressed. A short time later, this popped up on the front page of the high school's website. And boy, people either love it or hate it.
Parents of kids at Madison High School are being asked to dress for success.
I think it's ridiculous.
Principal Carlotta Outley Brown posted a dress code online saying any parents who don't comply won't be allowed on campus, and it's got some less than impressed.
We're an adult and we are tax-paying adults, and we shouldn't be told what to and what not to wear. We're not the students, we are the parents.
The list includes these: no hair rollers, satin caps or shower caps, no pajamas, leggings without a long shirt, sagging pants, Daisy Dukes, or undershirts. The dress code states, "We are preparing your child for a prosperous future. We want them to know what is appropriate."
I think that's crazy.
Some students don't really get the fuss.
Nobody come up in here in bathing suits. They don't come in here with their body out, you feel me?
But online, the dress code has loads of support with thousands of shares and comments. "This is great and should be mandated for all schools," writes one woman. "Love this," says another. "Long overdue," adds one more. You get the idea.
It seems a bit classist. There's no doubt about that.
But Zeph Capo, president of the Houston Federation of Teachers, says the way the dress code was implemented sends the wrong message.
At a time when we're trying to make sure parents are included in the process, we're excluding them, and that's not necessarily the right way to go.
And thinks a one-size-fits-all approach for parents isn't appropriate.
HISD says they have no comment on the school's dress code, and Principal Brown said she wasn't interested in talking to me about it either. But you can read her full note to parents as well as the whole dress code on our website, KHOU.com. Len.
I guess she feels the dress code stands and speaks for itself. Lauren, thank you.
So we wanted to know, can the school even do this? We know schools can set dress codes for students, but parents? Our Larry Seward is verifying what's legal and what is not.
We went straight to our legal analyst, Gerald Treese. He told us Madison's parent dress code must have a fair, specific purpose and could invite problems if it keeps out parents too poor to afford the right clothes. They could argue this policy denies them the right to access a public building, but schools are not public streets. Think about museums and courts of law. Both have dress codes, and we verified that Texas law and Supreme Court decisions at the state level give school administrators authority to set rules and discipline in this area. In Tennessee, a lawmaker drafted a law to force school districts to have such rules for parents. HISD policy allows schools to do the same for students, but says nothing about parents. While Madison's code may offend, we verified their policy is legal. Larry Seward, KHOU 11 News.
I'm sure we've not heard the last of that. It could be another year before we get the final report on what caused a plane to crash near Kerrville, killing all 6 Houstonians on board. That group was flying to Kerrville to survey property when their plane went down about 6 miles from the runway. CBS News sources say the aircraft may have lost an engine, sending it into a deadly spin. One of the people on board was Angela Kensinger, a beloved lacrosse coach at Houston's St. John's School.
She's just a very unique individual, more than a coach. It's really a tragic loss for us in this community.
The lacrosse team is still deciding whether to play in a tournament game scheduled for tomorrow. The NTSB is supposed to release preliminary findings early next week.
New tonight, back in custody. Deputies have captured a man who's accused of a crime that would send chills down the spines of any parent. Harris County Precinct 5 deputies say 26-year-old Frank Roberts III is accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl at his apartment in Katy and making a sex tape. And investigators say that is not all. When deputies found the victim at his apartment, she told them she had met Roberts and 3 other men at Greenspoint Mall, and they drove her to various hotels and apartments in West Harris County to have sex with other men.
All of the suspects drugged the victim with an assortment of drugs ranging from marijuana, Xanax, and possibly even heroin.
Roberts was arrested at one point and made bond, but was arrested again on new charges in the case. The other 3 suspects are all in custody. And here's a twist that makes the case even more disturbing. One of those other 3 is Donovan Knight, known as Dono. He's part of a popular pep rally group known as High School Takeover that performs at schools across the area. Investigators don't know if he tried to recruit girls at any of those schools, but they do believe there are more victims out there.
And most importantly, if you see something that does not look right, if you see somebody who appears to be a juvenile who is talking with adults at a location that you don't think is right, then notify law enforcement.
Bottom line, parents, please talk to your kids about who they are meeting. You just never know who has awful intentions.
Barring a last-minute reprieve, the ringleader, one of the most gruesome hate crimes in modern American history, will be executed in Huntsville tomorrow. John William King is set to die by lethal injection for the dragging death of James Byrd Jr. back in 1998. King and 2 other men targeted Byrd because he was black, beating him and then chaining him to the back of a pickup and dragging him for 3 miles along a road outside of Jasper. Byrd's 2 sisters plan to be in Huntsville to see that sentence carried out. And we will be there with live reports starting tomorrow afternoon. We'll send out updates as they happen on the KHOU 11 app.
Not looking good.
I'm sorry, not looking good?
Not looking good.
What happened? What broke down?
As far as I can go with it.
Mayor Sylvester Turner walking out of negotiations tonight, saying a deal does not look good to keep more than 200 firefighters from losing their jobs. City Council will vote on layoffs tomorrow because as of tonight, the city and firefighters have not been able to reach a deal.
Yeah, this is after a second day of talks with an outside mediator. This story tops your 90-second nightcap.
They are working with an outside mediator to implement Prop B and avoid layoffs. The fire union had already agreed to a 3.5-year phase-in plan, while Mayor Turner and the city had said a 5-year plan is the only way to prevent any layoffs. But even if the council votes for layoffs tomorrow, if a deal is later reached, those layoffs could be pulled back.
Demeaning, degrading, and humiliating are all ways Cecily Hughes describes a recent encounter with a United Airlines employee.
I really don't know what to say because I didn't think in 2019 I would be being called a monkey multiple times.
Hughes's legal team, including nationally known attorney Benjamin Crump, is threatening to sue United if the employee isn't fired. They don't know what's taking so long since she was already cited by Houston police for using abusive and profane language in a public space.
Protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court as justices heard 80 minutes of arguments about the Trump administration's plan to add a citizenship question on the 2020 census.
Challengers say the question could lead to millions of people not responding to the census, and that could affect how federal money is allocated and how many representatives each state gets in Congress.
It doesn't ask you whether you're in the country legally or illegally. It simply asks, are you a U.S. citizen?
The High Court is expected to issue a ruling in June.
Someone painted over the iconic Be Someone graffiti. Black paint covers everything. We don't know who did it or why, but Houstonians aren't happy about it and want to believe it will be back.
Could there